احنا فخورين جدا ان احنا بنبتدي اول ايفنت لماستر كلاس لمخرج عظيم زي بيلا تار. هتقدروا تشوفوا كل الندوات الموجودة في البرنامج السنة دي من خلال السوشيال ميديا او الويب سايت بتاع المهرجان. For now I will switch to English. I would like to thank راي ستوديوز الراعي الرسمي للماستر كلاس النهارده والكايرو اندستري دايز and Lexa Film Productions for their cooperation in this master class. It's a great pleasure to present to you on stage a visionary director known for his humane philosophical films and for his mesmerizing long shot scenes, a man who understands that cinema is first and foremost a visual language. Please welcome with me on stage Mr. Béla Tarr. And our moderator, Mr. Ahmed Abdallah.
Okay, hello. Thank you for coming. I'm very honored to be holding this event. I remember at the year 2002, I was working with Amir Ramses at one of his films. And then he came to me one day and he asked me if I have seen a film called Chat and Tango. And I had no clue about this film. And I went home and I pirated the film and I watched the film illegally. And I actually since then, I have been a huge fan of Mr. Tarr's work. So 20 years after, here we are. Amir is in the festival, and here I am sitting with the great Béla Tarr. So please gather your hand for him.
First of all, I would like to say thanks for your coming. And I'm listening for Ahmed. And let's go, because we don't have so much time.
Okay. We have, we watched the Rickmeister Harmony like 2 hours ago. And I think a lot of people here watched the film. For me, it's a very, very important film to start our conversation with. So I wanted to ask you, first of all, what inspired you to do this film? What was the first spark that made you wanted to make this film? I know it's based on a novel of your longtime partner, Leslie, but would you tell us more about it?
You know, first of all, I am a lazy guy. And you, to do a movie, you need something which is inspiring you. It's pushing you. You have to do something. And my friend Laszlo Krasnorkai wrote a novel. The title was The Resistance of Melancholy of Resistance. And he gave me the manuscript. And the manuscript was very interesting, very good, but I was sure impossible to do a movie about this novel because we don't have a guy who is same like our main character, the Valushka. And I said to him, no movie. And somehow, years later, I was working in Berlin with some young people, and one of them did a casting session, and our main character, Lars Rudolph, was sitting at the corner, waiting for his casting. and I just watched the guy, and somehow I decided, okay, he is totally fit for our character because of his personality and the character of the, let's say, story. It was similar, and that was the reason. Because, you know, when you start to like somebody, it is enough reason to do a movie. Enough reason. But of course, you have to be angry, you have to have a lot of emotions, but it's coming and it's still with you. But to find a person who is there, this is the real reason for this film. The other films has some other reasons, but for me, the people are the most important, because all our stuff is talking about the human dignity. But to show up the human dignity, you need a real human being.
True. So I cannot think of this film without thinking of the locations, actually. Specifically, this amazing scene at the hospital. There is this very long take of the mobs going and destroying the hospitals and going room by room by room by room until they find the wall. So they have to turn back and go out. So I always wanted to ask you, what comes first? Is it the location or is it the idea first? Do you think of this scene and then you choose the location based on it, or you see the location and you build the scene based on it?
First of all, we have to go step by step, because the location, it's one of the main character, and you have to know your main character. You have to know the location, and of course at the same time you have to know the casting, and the two things are together, developing the concrete scene. It's not first. Yeah, I think I have to tell you, and I really don't like to writing, and I really don't like because for me the film, it's cannot based on the script. Sorry for the script writers, but I have to tell you, the script, I know a lot of people are sitting on their desks and writing, and by the end they will have just a fucking piece of paper without life. And the life is it's front of you. And the life, you have to understand the logic, the life. You have to see the real people. You have to see the people. You have to see the real locations. You know, when you are writing a script, you are thinking about the linear storytelling, which is the poisoning the real cinema. Since the Nouvelle Vague, we knew the film is not linear story. The film is human faces, human feelings, human eyes, and real situations. And this is what I call it film. Of course, written and picture. But that's why I wanted to show you how was the script of this Werkmeister Harmonies. is there on the board. You can see each scene is just one card. And we just wrote it only the main issue, just not to forget. For the first scene, which is called Eclipse, the guys in the pub, how they are dancing and moving and how it goes. But you know, if you are in the location, and usually I'm doing the location scouting alone. I'm sitting there hours and thinking what could happen here, because each object and each props has a meaning. Everything has a meaning on the frame. That's why enough for me. And when I'm sitting in the set, I just believe this is the camera movement, this will be the casting, and this will be the scene. That's why I'm using this kind of way of the work since my first movie, which it was 40-something years ago. Really, it's no reason to write more. We wrote only 3 dialogues for this movie. The others, the dialogues came from the situation, how the people watching each other, how they are doing together. That's all. I'm sorry again from the script writers.
Okay, I always wanted to ask you about the card method because you are, we know that you work with cards, and it was very important to me to know how do you communicate with your crew if you are just having the card. So how does it work later on? Tell us about the stages.
You know, this card system is all crew members, they can see it because in the catering, when we have break or we have to change the light or something, the people are there. And when we finished one card, we are just making a cross and it's done. And everybody understands where are we now in the movie, including the dolly guy, including the lighters, including the wardrobe people, and the actors too. No reason how can I communicate. First of all, they trust me. And the second point, you know, that's why we never give script for the actors. Because
That's
I
interesting.
have to say something about the casting. I don't care about if somebody is a professional actor like Tilda Swinton or Hanna Sigula or Inde Werkmester. The others, for example, Lars Rudolph, when I met with him, he was just a street musician. He was playing on the trumpet. And now he became actor after this film. But, you know, that doesn't matter. I care about their personalities. Who are you? How do you react in this situation or that situation? And then afterwards, I have to be your friend. I have to be open for you, and you have to be open for me. And the basic thing is really the trust. If you trust me and you believe I don't humiliate you and I don't destroy your dignity, in this case, easy. And I have to tell you, when I was working with Tilda Swinton, it was the same. Tilda wasn't an actress when she was in the set with us. She was just an open person. And no reason to give text for them, because if the situation is real and it's working as a human situation, in this case, she can react how she feels. And this is the point when you can get real emotions in their eyes. It's very important.
Okay, so that leads me to my next question, because I always wondered how they trust you. But how do you trust them if you're having a very long shot, long take, like 10 minutes, and it's very well choreographed, and you have the camera movement, and if one of the actors is doing something that doesn't fit with the exact emotions of the scene, how do you handle this?
First of all, this is a contradiction, because, you know, yes, you are right, the camera is slowly takes time, but it became really very well made. It means we have to rehearsal a lot with the cinematographer, with the dolly guys, and with everybody. And when they knew what they have to do, and they studied, afterwards I'm calling to the actors to the set. I'm explaining to them, this is your position, and then and this is the situation. You want this from me, and I want a different stuff. And that's enough. Enough. Because they will listening only for the others, not for the camera. And they are in the situation. That's why I like very much the long takes, because one hand, it is good for the whole movie and the whole rhythm and everything, but the other hand, the main issue is the actors has to be in the situation, because if they are falling out, in this case, you will see their eyes immediately became empty, and no reason. In this case, I stop and back to one and start again. And they cannot escape because the camera is rolling. They have to listen for each other. We need their presence. You know, this is a very dirty job to be a filmmaker, because you are stealing their emotions. You are robbing them, because I wanted to catch and take their heart out.
Amazing. So, in order to take the actor's heart out, do you give them a space for improvising and
It's
allow?
all the time. All the time. The camera is strict, and the actors has to be free. Of course, they are free. If you feel some words is coming, you can say, but if you don't feel it, you don't say it. Like in the life, when you are in a situation, you are reacting how how it's coming from you. And that's why I'm telling you, I'm grabbing them. I need their presence because I wanted to show, you know, when the camera is rolling, all actors and actresses became naked. And the question of the trust is they can give themselves for the situation or not.
Great. So that also leads me to ask you about the shooting itself, because sometimes I feel even the cameraman is free to move. Sometimes, let me explain. Let's talk about the beginning of your amazing film, Damnation. We see the camera moving, and then there is a cow, and then the camera stops when the cow comes a little forward, and then the camera moves again, and then it stops to catch something. So was it planned, or how does it work?
Uh, this was the Shatan Tango, not the damnation, and no, the camera did not stop. The camera just started to move slowly, and we just let them, the cows, to go out. And but I have to tell you, it was a little bit difficult because the cows are usually, when they are going to the field, they are using a different way. And they had to study a new way to the field. And we were rehearsing with the cows more than 1 month just to get the right way. And somehow the camera cannot improvise, but the actors, let's say the cows, uh, they can move and they can do what they want.
Okay, so during the shooting, so now you go with your cards, with the people you trust, and you are on set. How does it work? Take us on this journey.
Simple, I told you, the camera studied their way. And I just explained to the basic situation for the actors. I tried to get their spontaneity, and afterwards coming the long take. The long take is, I told you, one hand, it's, it's good for the actors. Sometimes I do not stop the camera even if the scene it was finished, because you can catch the best part when they don't know what they have to do and they just in.
Okay.
And it's just keep rolling. And the other reason is why my takes became longer and longer and longer in my life. It was because I was thinking a lot about the time. And the time, you know, the films are ignoring the time. And our life, yeah, because the logic of the films is action, cut, storytelling, happened, cut, go further. And for me, not. For me, you know, our life is happening in the time. Day by day, we became older. Day by day, we became different. Slowly, even if we think our life is goes in the monotony or we are doing just the daily routine. No. Every day we became older, and how we became older, we became weaker. And the time and the space, this is how where is our life. And this is why somehow my takes became longer and longer, because I wanted to understand something about the world. And to understand the world, it's not too simple. You are doing, and try to go closer to the people, closer to the globe, to the whole universe.
Okay, so I guess even in your early work, like Macbeth, which you filmed in video already, you had it in 2 shots. Am I correct? The first shot was 50 minutes or something like that, 55 minutes, I think, and the other shot was 5 minutes. So I guess in your early, even in your early, very early beginning, I think you did this even before, or actually during the film school, right? You did Macbeth when you were still studying, and you always wanted to have the long takes. You always wanted to follow the characters and to give them the time to do this. You have this idea in your head since the early beginning. Am I correct?
I don't know, because if we say what is inspired me, yes, I was film student, and I never been in the film school, because I had a very good professor who said to me, and I told him I want to shoot my second movie, because I shot my first feature before the film school. And after they let me in to the film school, but they told me it's better if I go to shoot my second feature and not wasting my time in the school. And he was really a great guy, and he's 91 years old now, and he was just a liberal guy. And but it was a third year. You know, every year I went for the opening of the year, and I met with him, and he said, "No, now, no mercy. You have to do a kind of exam, and you have to do a classical piece." The last evening I was reading Shakespeare, and I said to him, "Okay, the Macbeth is good." He said, "Why not?" And it was just the floor of the school. And by the end, we did it, this Macbeth, and I did not like any kind of digital stuff, and we made it for the Hungarian television. And yes, the first take it was 2 minutes, and the whole piece afterwards it was one take and 62 minutes. And somehow I was interested about the space and how it moves, how it's happening. And yeah, it was a really big challenge. That's I liked it, and and it was very good for me, because before I can't believe to touch any kind of literature or any kind of writer stuff. But the Shakespeare convinced me. And then afterwards I need and I like if something is written well, even if I cannot use for the shooting, because the literature and the film is two different languages. It's not.
Sure.
You, you cannot, and you cannot, let's say, translating, because it's doesn't work. You have to transforming.
Yeah. Okay. Still on the topic of time, which is I am mostly interested in as a film editor. So always wanted to ask you. You never had the urge to do a conventional reverse shot to have one character talking and then you cut to the second character. You never do this. What was your vision to execute your films without doing very conventional, easy solution that has been happening in film industry?
In this case, why I'm there. Everybody can do it. You know, an actor is entering, say hello, and cut. And then the other in the room say hello and cut. And then it's coming a wider picture when we see both them. It's boring for me. Really, it's no challenge. And plus, it's not true. Not true. It's not. It doesn't go like this. If somebody who is entering and I'm in the room and I'm just watching and we have we have to have time to feel it each other. It cannot work like this. It's fake. And you know, when I was very young, I was a worker in the ship factory. That was my real university. And I understood how the people are doing the life. And I studied what this means time. And this is why somehow I cannot believe to do this television way, because this is the way how the televisions are going. Action cut.
Okay, so when we start to build a scene, usually we have been told cinema is all about manipulating time, playing with the time, doing something different with the real time. But sometimes you decide to stick to the real time that is happening. Would you elaborate a little about it?
First of all, I'm a tricky guy, because if you see my long takes, you can see some inside cut
Sure.
in the take. Because if I do a white picture and then afterwards going closer to your face from this picture without cut, and I'm just going to your face and turning around you and opening again the space. It's inside cut, but you know, but at the time, yes, it's linear during of the take. But maybe let's say in the shot antago, you could see I, I'm, I'm jumping in the time, but the the psychological procedure and process, it is really, it's real, because I want to closer to the people. This is very important.
That's what you call psychological continuity, right?
Let's say, yes, we can say.
Yeah.
It's no, it's a logic of the situation. I'm almost, since I don't know how long, I'm talking about the power of the situation, because we are a prisoner of the situations.
Sure. Sure. Okay, speaking of the situation, I think that cannot build a situation without music. And speaking with you, I am fully aware that you are even interested in musical theory also. And I think the Rickmeister harmony was big part of it about thinking of the harmonies, right?
Yes, because it became a philosophical question in the movie. But the music in our movies is very important. First of all, the music, one of the main character. It has a strong presence. You know, in the film industry, what you are mentioning, it's happening. The people are shooting something, take, contra take, or wide, and then the editors are cutting, and then if you don't have enough tension, you are calling the musicians. And then they are watching the cutted movie and they are playing. What is this? I want to know uh, all my main characters before the shooting. That's, and was working with the same composer since 1983. He was just a rock musicians, and we became friends because he is a poet too, and he is a very sensible person, and I really love him. And I'm just telling to him to go to the studio. That will be approximately the film, and please do something. And he goes to the studio with his people, and they are recording something, and com- coming to me and giving to me the disc, or doesn't matter, hard drive now. And that's all. And it helps me a lot because sometimes during of the shooting we are playing the music which is helps very very much for the camera movement, to keep it the rhythm. It's helping for the actors to giving a very strong atmosphere. That's why I really need the music before the shooting. And that's all.
Usually, I wanted to ask the question of the music as a question about the post production, but now hearing this, it's actually a pre production process, selecting the music. Yeah.
Yes, the music is part of the pre-production, and you know, problem. For example, in the Werkmeister and some other movies, uh, we have to do a whole post-production in the sound studio because, first of all, Lars Rudolph, he was German, and the three main characters, Mr. Esther and Hanna Sigula, uh, they were talking in the movie in German, but the other actors or characters were talking Hungarians. And by the end, we had to dub the whole movie. And of course, sometimes we are using wind machines, we are using a lot of shit. Plus, I'm shouting with the camera crew, and everything is. We cannot use the original sound. We can use only the dubbing, and I like very much to dubbing the noises. All follies are made in the studio, and somehow it's really enjoyable because I like to find the right noise or write things.
Okay, so I will go back again to the idea of the film. There is something I found personally very fascinating about your film, that there is always a big part of being untold. There is some part of the story being untold, and some of the story is being told. And this kind of ambiguity for me is magical.
Musician.
Yeah. So, is my feeling is correct? Do you do it on purpose or what?
I cannot say this. You know, it means, no, when you are in the set at 4 o'clock at the morning, waiting for the light coming up, you don't think. It is too sophisticated for the location. You know, it's cold, mud, fogged up. It's too. I'm just happy if I can get something. No, it's not tuned. It's really.
Okay, but you decide to tell us. Let's talk about Turin Horse, for example. The daughter, is she a daughter or the granddaughter? We don't know this. That's what I mean.
She's a daughter, but if you feel she's a granddaughter, it's also fine. Because, you know, just this is not a question. The question is how are they? How they are doing the life, this horrible life. And of course, the main issue is this is an anti-Genesis film.
Okay. Great. So, again, I feel there is a theme in your films. I don't like to keep connecting the dots about the films, but there is always a force of loneliness, or the people, they don't have the capacity to do what they should do. Do I have right feelings when we talk about, even since the very beginning, even Macbeth, actually?
You know, everybody has only one life. And of course, everybody has a kind of talent. And that's the real tragedy, when you feel you are capable, but you are a part of a society which is not allow you to be yourself. And the real tragedy is if you cannot be yourself and you cannot be free, because this is the secret. If you are free, you are capable. But if you are not free, you are really fucked up.
No one can say this better than Béla Tarr. Okay, so should we start taking questions or we still عندنا أسئلة على عند الحضور ولا كمل؟ في حد حابب يسأل أسئلة؟ أوكي في أسئلة. طيب ممتاز. أوكي so can we start? طيب نبدأ بمين؟ تفضل.
حطرح سؤال بالعربية وحضرتك حترجم ياك؟
تحت أمرك.
شكرا. سعيدة جدا بحضور هذه الندوة مع المخرج المجري المبدع بيلا تار. أنا شرفة شريف حوات، سينيفيليا أو سينيفيلم من المغرب. يعني أنا لا ناقدة ولا صحفية، أنا عاشقة للسينما وأحضر المهرجانات السينمائية في العالم على حسابي الخاص عشقا في السينما.
السؤال يا فندم.
حاضر، لازم أقدم نفسي. نعم نعم أستاذ حسين. سؤالي بالنسبة لسينما بيلا تار، هل يعتقد بيلا تار أن السينما الحالية أو المخرجين السينمائيين في العالم العربي، في العالم كله، يعني لهم سينما مختلفة عن السينما التي عشقناها وعرفناها؟ وأعطي مثال بسينما كيارستامي، سينما تاركوفسكي، سينما الحالية الآن اللي هي سينما بيلا تار، اللي تعتبر من السينمات يعني المختلفة والمتفردة في طريقة صناعتها للأفلام. هذا السؤال الأول.
شكرا. لا
سؤال
اسمحي لي
لا
معلش
عندي
علشان بس
سؤال
ناخد
ثاني.
اسئله من بقيه الناس.
لا
أستأذن
سؤال
حضرتك.
سؤال
معلش
أخير
سؤال
لو
واحد من كل حد وبعدين هناخد عشان
أوكي
اتفضل.
أوكي.
You know, the film history shows us we had some two types of films. One, which looks like the McDonald's fast food, and you forget for the next day. And you know some films which will be with you till end of your life. It's up to you and up to the filmmakers too, because we all are different, fortunately. And fortunately, the filmmakers are different. And the way of the filmmaking, it is coming from you, from your personality. I don't want to judging, and I don't want to say the film industry people are doing bad, or we are doing good. It's stupid, because we have to accept each other. And it's no reason to judging or no reason for me to answering for you, because I'm really, and I never say anything about my colleagues' works. Sorry.
شكرا. الأستاذة. الأستاذة ممكن بس بعد كده ندي المايك للي جاي عليه الدور علشان ما نستناش ما بين الناس. شكرا يا شباب. اتفضلي يا
السلام
فندم.
عليكم. أنا دنيا في الفتى من 20 من العمر. أنا بس حابة أسأل حضرتك يعني كنصيحة، يعني شفت حضرتك وسمعت حضرتك، حاسة يعني أنا شايفة حاجة كبيرة قدامي بتطلع من شخص عظيم، فطالبة أسأل حضرتك على حاجة لو جاوبتني عليها كنصيحة هبقى فرحانة جدا. أنا واحدة عندي 20 سنة، بتمنى 22 سنة سوري، بتمنى أنا سرحت سوري بتمنى ان انا اكون حاجه كبيره في حاجه بحبها جدا. نفسي اكون مشهوره، يعني انا مثلا بكتب شعر باللغه العربيه الفصحى، مشاركه في مسرح الجامعه، بعزف بيانو هنا في الاوبرا، وبدبلج كرتون. ايه طريقه تخليني اكون حاجه ولو ربع حاجه من سيادتك كبيره زي حضرتك؟
شكرا على السؤال. شكرا. pursue her career as a musician and as a poet. She's also doing poetry. What's your advice for her?
You know what I say all the time for my young guys. You know, sometimes I'm doing workshops, sometimes, and I was doing a film school for 4 years on my way. And I just wanted to say, if you are 22, don't look right, don't look left, just follow your emotions. Please be yourself and don't listen for anyone. If you are a filmmaker, I'm telling to you, now we are in the 21st century and you can do a fucking movie with your phone and you no rules anymore and nobody can give you advice. Just to be yourself and brave.
اتفضل.
Hello, Mr. Tarr. Thank you for being here. Thank you for coming to Egypt. We're very happy to have you. And thank you, Ahmed, for moderating. My question is hopefully simple. There's a saying that I can't remember, another filmmaker said, inside every director, there's a frustrated actor. Can every director act? Or can every actor direct? Thank you.
It's also depending by you, your personality. I was doing only twice in my life acting. Once for Miklos Jancsó. He was a great master in the Hungarian and the European cinema. And he was forcing me. And I did not like it because I see, you know, I see the whole situation and I'm all the time a little bit out. And this is, and an actor, hey guys, listen. And an actor has to be in. You have to give up your control and everything. But I don't know. And I saw it some movies which it was made by actors like Cassavetes, who was actor and director, but you know, it's depending by the person. No recipe. Anyway, to back to you for the 22 years old question, you have to know no recipes. If you do something, do it. Feel free.
تمام المايك معايا. حضرتك ترجمه له اهو 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 اقول السؤال بالعربي ترجمه له. تمام. كصانع فيلم يعني شايفه بيكسر كل القواعد وما عندوش قواعد، يعني بيمشي ورا قلبه. ايه نصيحته لصناع الافلام في مصر او في يعني صناع الافلام اللي هم محكومين بالرقابه؟ ازاي ممكن يعمل فيلم فيه كل احاسيسه وهو خاضع للرقابه؟
Saying you are breaking the rules while making films. So he's asking you about how to make films under censorship, and we have the Hindu censorship sitting here. So
I tell you, when I started my life as a filmmaker, I was 22, and it was in the communist time, let's say communist. They called it themselves communist, and but I'm sure they never read Marx. And but they call it communist, and we had a strong censorship. But I did not care. My second feature, it was locked because they said I have to cut off 2 scenes. And I said, I was 24. And I said, no. And you know what happened? We were waiting. Half a year later, they came to me. Did you cut it? And I said, not. And okay. And again, half a year. And they said, did you cut it? Not. And they, you know, and after 1.5 years, they give up because they are working for their position, they are working for their existence, they are working for their salaries, they are working for their safety. And when I was there, I could not lose anything. You know, if you cannot lose anything, you are brave. And by the end, you know, the censors are cynical. You can trust me. That's the sure. And I don't care about the censorship. And you know, what can I say? Okay, that's time it was in my life the censorship of the politicians. But now we have the censorship of the market. And what can you do? Try to ignoring. That's all what I can do.
ايوه يا احمد.
Okay.
مساء الخير، انا هنا.
أيوة.
يا انا بس عايزه اعرف اي نوع من الممثلين هو بيشتغل معاه ما بيديلوش السكريبت وبيحافظ في نفس الوقت على الكاركتر. ما هو احنا الممثلين بيروحوا يعملوا كاركترز، فازاي الممثل يعني هو عايز من الممثل احاسيسه الشخصيه. يعني احنا كممثلين زمان اول ما درسنا تمثيل كنا بندرس ستانسلافسكي، وبعدين بعد شويه قلنا ستانسلافسكي ما ينفعش لانه بيعتمد على شخصيه الممثل نفسه، الذاكره الانفعاليه بتاعت الممثل نفسه مش الشخصيه. وكانت دي الخناقه بين ستانسلافسكي وتشيكوف، انه انت بتعتمد على شخصيه الممثل نفسه مش الكاركتر اللي في الفيلم. فانا عايز اعرف هو بيشتغل ازاي، انهي نوع. شكرا.
I told you, I'm working with them as a human being. And let's say Tilda Swinton. And she came, I called her and I told her, I would like to work with you. She told me, great. And she came and I just told her, what is the situation? Concrete situation now. And it's not for me, let me to build up the characters and the human drama and the other things. Because I know the actors, especially from the theater, they are wanted to build up the character. They are believing. And I just say to you, please do this. Here is the other guy, and he wants you this, and you don't want that at the same time. And then maybe the situation will change, and you want what you refused, but now it's too late. And this is a very simple situation. And you And that's why I told you the question of the trust. If you trust me and you believe I hold you, I never let you to fall. In this case, it's so simple. And it's became, it's a question of our relationship. How can you give yourself to my hands?
You in a previous interview, you called your actors your family.
Of course.
This is how you feel about them in everyday situation, like in real persons. You can handle them and deal with them as real family and friends.
Yes. Yes.
أستاذ حسين تفضل يا فندم.
Hi, my name is Lana. Mr. Bella, what was the cutted part in your movie? The 2 scenes. Was it about politics or what that made you wait for over 1 year?
Yeah, it was a little bit political stuff. And they felt it hurted them, but it's so ridiculous. And if he doesn't ask me, I already forgot. Really. Because they are disappearing. In my life, I saw minimum 20 cultural ministers. I'm still here, and they totally disappeared. Because,
أستاذ حسين تفضل.
Thank you. Mr. Tarr, you're most welcome to the Cairo International Film Festival. I need to ask you a question about improvisation, because again, you said that you give the characters what they have to say and the actors have to perform. Now we have dialogue. If they are improvising the dialogue and you have to stop to repeat the scene, what is the dialogue going to be in this situation? Do they change the dialogue? Do they repeat the same dialogue? They are creating their own dialogue? Is this the case?
The dialogues is coming from their personality and the situation, which is the frame where they can move from here to there. The frame is necessary, but the dialogue has to come from their personality, how you are reacting yourself, how you do. If, that's why I don't like the script when you are writing about a person, let's say, who is 2 meters tall and big body or something. And by the end, I will choose a tiny, small guy. Because his personality closer what I wanted to catch. And of course, his dialogue or his presence will be different than a 2 meter high, big bodied, strong man. It's, you have to see the reality. It looks like the cooking. You want to cook something. You have a recipe, let's say the script. And what is happening with you? You go to the market and you cannot get the proper meat, or you find a different meat, or you have just some different vegetables. And by the end, you have to cook, and you use what you found. This is why, and your recipe is really fucked up. because it's useless. And it's not working anymore. With a different meat, with a different vegetables, how you can do the same? Not.
So every time you repeat the scene, if you have to repeat the scene, then they can change the dialogue. Is that it?
If they want.
Okay.
But they can use the same. But one thing is sure, I don't write you down how you have to say hello.
Yeah, got it. Thank you.
اوكي ناخد من الناحيه الثانيه بعد اذنكم.
Hi. Hi, my name is Ahmed. I'm genuinely so thrilled to be in the same room with you today. So there's this ongoing, like controversial topic that so many iconic filmmakers have spoken about. I want to know your opinion on superhero films.
Which film?
Superhero films like Marvel and DC. Like, what do you think of them? What's your opinion on them?
I have to disappoint you. I don't know those films.
Okay. So you've never
really,
watched...
Really, swear to God.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, next.
Hello. Mohammed Fawi from Sudan. Mohammed Fawi from Sudan. Mr. Béla Tarr talked about just not to care about things and to be free in your art. Maybe this could happen in Europe, but I don't know. In my country, I cannot just not care about the security intelligence agencies. It's not easy like this. But I'm not talking just about the security intelligence agencies in our countries. I'm also talking about funding. In general, we have a lot of policies around us, cultural policies and films policies. So I have to get fund to my film and I have to distribute it in festivals. So can I be completely free? Is Mr. Béla Tarr ever felt 100% free in his films? In the end, we have to get funds. There are people are paying money for these films. They have right in it. Thank you.
You know what? First of all, when I did my first feature, I was 22, as I told you, and we did not have any fucking penny, and it was totally independent. And by the end, we did it. We did it during 5 shooting days. We did it without any penny. Our cinematographer had an old, fucked up East German car, and we stole the focus puller who had the job for the Hungarian television. He was stealing the raw stocks. We did not pay any penny for anyone, and we did not care. We just wanted to tell to you what we see, how we think. And I don't like when some young people are complaining they don't get money, and everybody is responsible, but they are not doing. You can do it a fucking film without any penny. And you can, if you have trouble with the distribution, you can show it on the internet. And you have to be independent. You have to find it, the way. I told you, you can do a movie with your phone. Nobody tell you you have to do 5 million euros budget. If you don't have budget, you have high energy. No budget, high energy.
اتفضل يا فندم.
احمد بدر مخرج مصري. بشكر استاذ بيلا تار وبشكرك على اداره الحوار بشكل جيد يعني. كان عندي سؤال ليه علاقه بفيلم تورين هورس. في فيلم حصان تيرينو كان واضح التاثر بحادثه حصان نيتشه، علشان كده الفيلم اتسمى حصان تيرينو. فانا عايز اساله، هل الفيلم ده تأثرت فيه بالواقعة ولا تأثرت فيه بفلسفة نيتشه بالأساس؟ وعايز أسأل توظيف اللون الأبيض والأسود كان علشان ما يحسسناش بالزمن ولا لشيء تاني؟ شكرا.
About Nietzsche and the Turing horse, in the prologue of the overture of this film is telling the story how Nietzsche reacted for the horse, you know, and the connection between this, how Nietzsche started to Zarathustra. He said, the God is dead. And what we did, we took back the Genesis. That's happened. This is the real connection. And black and white, I don't know, I like it. But mostly because two things. The world is too colorful and too much things are catching your attention. And if you do black and white, you keep focusing more stronger. And the other thing is, you know, since the middle of 80s, the Kodak changed the technology. It was before the celluloid, and now they are producing this kind of polyester stuff, which is plastic. And all movies which it was shot for this polyester stuff, it was too fake, because the green was too green, the red was too red, and the blue was too blue. And if you see a scene about the sea did not look like a sea. And that's why I said, okay. And plus, the black and white has the whole grayscale, and you can play with them. You can say, okay, if I want your focus for the main issue, in this case, I put the light for the brightness to the main issue, and just hide it, keep it black, what is not important in a frame. That's why I really like it. And plus, when you see a black and white movie, you don't have the illusion it is the reality. Because the black and white, you feel it, it's somebody did it.
Okay. That leads me to a question that you made most of your films entirely on 35 millimeter, on film. You never wanted to try to make a film on digital format? You never felt the curiosity to try it?
We were talking about the Macbeth, which it was
video.
kind
It was
of
video.
video. But No, you know what I think? The digital, it can be a new language. And this is the language what the the young people has to find a new way, a new visual language. Because now everybody using the digital camera as a fake film camera. And they are pretending this is a kind of film, but they are not. The film is for me still the 35 millimeter perfo stuff. And now it's, I don't know, it's not. It's, you have to think about, you know, when I saw it in the 80s, in the original Namjoon Paik's cello, the woman with the cello, I was so happy because I was sure now it's coming a big revolution in the history of the motion picture, and it's coming, and now it's just simple thing is happening. We are using the digital because it's cheaper, and plus in this case much more profit goes to the big studios.
True, I wouldn't agree more. اوكي طيب حد تاني؟ نسمع واحدة من الأساتذة نحقق شوية من العدالة الجندرية بعد إذنكم.
Hi.
اتفضلي.
Okay, so my question is about long takes and hitting the emotional beats. You said earlier that when you're working on set and you look at an actor when you're watching them and you see that their eyes are empty. So in that situation, how do you work with the actor to bring them back to the reality of the situation? Since you said that when it's a long take especially, everything is rehearsed before, like the camera or the dolly. So in that specific moment, and you see the actor, their eyes are empty.
Yeah, sometimes happening. Not too much time, fortunately, but sometimes. You know, when the camera knows everything properly, after the actors are coming. But if somebody does a mistake, in this case, we have to break it and start again. But after the third take, the actors are just repeating, and it became mechanical or empty. And in this case, the best to say, okay, guys, we stop for today, and we will do again tomorrow. That's no any other chance, because I cannot force them to be like in the first or second time. Because in the first and second time, everything is so crazy, and they are on the top and they are just doing. But after the fifth time, this just became a repetition, and I don't like it. And we have to stop and do tomorrow again.
اوكي في أسئلة تانية؟
Hi.
اتفضل.
Hello, Mr. Béla Tarr. It's an honor to be here. I wanted to ask you, what's your biggest personal inspiration, and what's your favorite literary work? Like, what's your biggest literary work that like inspired you throughout your life? Thank you.
Hey, we have limited time. If I'm starting to tell you my favorite stuffs, we can sit here till tomorrow morning. And you don't have favorite anyway, normally, because you are just, you know, sometimes you like this, and the next day it's it's some new things is coming, and it's moving your brain, and then became you had a different relationship with the former stuff, and you are haunting the new stuffs. That's why I cannot answer for you.
Okay.
Yes.
تفضلي.
Hi, my name is Malika, Mr. Béla Tarr. Thank you for this opportunity. My question is about your movie, Satan Tango, which is a 7-hour long movie. How were you, as a director, to break the ice between the audience and the film? Were you able to decide to publish a film that's 7-hour long? Not everyone could be able to watch it this duration. So that's my question. Thank you very much.
I have to tell you, you are not right. I think everybody can see it if they have opportunity to see it. For example, the Italian television was celebrating the 100th birthday of the cinema with the Satan Tango, and they started at midnight and they finished at the early morning, and it was the biggest hit in this year in the history of Rai. And you know, it means this is this kind of preconception to somebody can understand, somebody not. It's not. Uh, you have to give the opportunity to everybody, and they can decide. They can decide they want to watch it or not. It's some places, you know, and the Shazantago is a big hit around the world and everywhere, year by year. Of course, it's a special event, but it's working, and it's more than 28 years old. And who cares?
Okay, so I think we have time for one last question. So, مين مع المايك?
Yes. Hello, Mr. Tarr. I wanted to ask a question about music production and Almanac of Fall. You said that the music is a pre-production phase. I was wondering how you could inspire the artist Megali Veg to produce such a soundtrack that melds with the setting of the house, the old crumble house, and about the length and the impact for choosing music for your film. Thank you.
I told you, he went to the studio and he was recording with his friends. And he inspired us very much. And it was help. You know, this movie had a strange style. Let's say that was the most depressed movie in my life, because somehow that time it was the communist system, it was surely over, but the new things did not come, and you know, it was bad. It was a decadent stuff. And Mihai had that was the first movie that we did it together, and he had a very good sense for this decadency. That's why we found each other. And of course, from ground, you can go up. And we came up. But we did it together.
Okay. Uh, Thank you so much. I would like to thank you all for coming, and I would like to thank the festival for giving us this great opportunity to learn from the master himself. So I would like to thank the festival again, and of course, thank you for being very generous in your answers. And Mr. Tan has a workshop, so I wish everyone in the workshop good luck in the upcoming days, and see you during the festival events. Thank you.